Hi everybody, welcome back to Australia today for Breeding British Birds episode 4. Now coming up this week then, we've had our fair share of exciting and encouraging moments and our fair share of those disappointing ones as well. And that's with our native birds and our canaries. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this week's episode. So the first thing we're going to do is go to my local seed supplier who I get a lot of my generic mixes from and the bedding for the birds as well. We've got a load of that to collect for this breeding season, of course, so let's get on the road. And there we are, we're back home. So I've got 2 bags of canary mix, I've got a germinated seed, a bag of easy chick wood chip bedding, a parrot mix which I give to the Finches, and some blue moor as well. Starting off with the canaries then. For this breeding season, we've got 6 pairs of North Dutch frill canaries, and all those pairs are housed on the bottom row of this big bank of cages. Now, last week we saw that we started to have some success with these guys. We had a number of chicks hatch. Well, at this moment in time, in the second week of May, we have now got 17 chicks across 4 nests, which is a great return so far from 4 of the 6 pairs. We've got a number of chicks that are older birds that we saw a lot of last week. There's 13 of them down there. The parents are doing great. And we've also got 4 that are about 5 days old or so down here. Now, I've rung all the chicks this year. Now, you don't have to ring canaries, at least in the UK you don't have to. However, I would like to show these birds as well as having the year on the birds. I know exactly when they were born because I have the 2024 on the ring, and they also have their own unique identifier code, so I can identify each bird, tell which are its siblings, which are its parents, and form a pedigree. So I use British Bird Council closed rings for that, just the standard brown ones, and they work really well for me. So I've rung all those 17 chicks. Closed ringing is quite a simple but fiddly process. All you have to do is take the ring and manoeuvre it carefully over the chick's front 3 toes. Give it a wiggle as it passes over the ankle, and then gently remove the toe from behind the closed ring, and it's perfectly in place on the leg. What has been quite frustrating, however, with these birds is particularly this pair down here. We've got a white cockbird with a normal clear hen. Now, they've got 3 chicks. One of them we moved out, put in a different nest because they weren't feeding it too great. It was the smallest of the 4. But those 3 chicks down there, the cockbird is trying to encourage the hen to go back to nest. And the problem with that is he's plucking a lot of the feathers out of the back and the wings of the chicks. Now, I would normally remove the cockbird at this point. However, he's been a big part in actually caring for them. He's been feeding them really well and been basically taking over duties from the mother when she's needed a rest. So I'm quite keen to not remove him for that reason, because I'm worried that if I do remove him, the hen might stop feeding the chicks altogether because he's been doing most of the work there. So I am being cautious with that. The only thing I have been doing to try and distract him is put some jute and some nesting material in there so he directs his destructive behaviours onto those rather than the chicks, and that has been working the past couple of days, saying that the chicks are still a little bit bald on the back, so I am having to keep a close eye on them. So with most of those chicks now approaching 10 days old, I'm putting a lot of soft food in for the parent birds to rear their chicks on, of course. Now, the thing is with birds, if you keep birds, you'll know this, they like to be messy, they chuck food and all sorts of things everywhere, and it's a real pain, to be quite honest with you. Now, with those chicks obviously being the age they are, they're eating a real large amount of food. There's a lot of discarded food and poo being put onto the floor. And now the problem is that they discard that food, it then goes off, it starts to spoil, and then if it's fed back into the chicks, it's going to make them ill. So I've been staying really on top of cleanliness, and I encourage you to do so as well. Every other day, every 3 days, I've just been pulling out the drawers and replacing the newspaper, and that's really paid off so far because all the chicks are looking fantastic. In episode 3 of the show, we introduced the nest liners to the lesser redpoll pairs. Now we have 6 pairs of straight lesser redpolls and 2 lesser redpoll mule and hybrid pairs on the bottom. Now it's safe to say it has been fairly successful. We've had some quite consistent warm weather now, and the cockbirds have been twilling a lot, and the hens have been carrying a lot of material as well and starting to mate with the cockbirds. So I'm seeing some really promising signs so far. Now, in relation to introducing the nest sites, we have had some nest building action, and we've even had some eggs. In this cage here, we've got a pair that have now laid 5 eggs. The only thing is, she's built up, laid 5 eggs, but she's yet to sit on them, and it's been 2 days since the last egg. I haven't touched them, I haven't disturbed them, I just know they're there because I've looked in from afar. Now, I don't know why she's not sat on them. It is a young hen, so it is a first round, so you have to bear with them and be patient in that respect, but I'm hoping she will sit on them soon. If she doesn't, we might have to look at taking those eggs away, putting them under something else if we've got it available, or discarding the eggs and letting her go for another round. Now, a bit of the good news is that this pair in this cage at the far end, they haven't made a nest. They've laid 3 eggs, I think now, onto the grass liner straight up, but the hen's now been sat on them for about 3 days and has yet to move really. She's been absolutely fine, but no interest at all in building a nest. Now, will the chicks be okay if they did hatch? Maybe, I'm not too sure, and I can try and help them if need be, but she's sat on 3 eggs. We've got 5 eggs there that they're not sat on, and for the rest of the pairs, they've started to put some nest material on the nest sites, but they're still messing about a bit. I've been giving them a few different things, cocoa fibre jute, sisal, and also been getting a little bit of dry moss as well. And that has been working so far, but it's still quite early for the lesser redpolls. I bred a lot of these last year that were bred around June time, so I'm anticipating another couple of weeks and we might get a lot more from them. In typical Bullfinch fashion, we've had a really mixed bag of results from our pair of Siberians up here. Now, in last week's episode, we saw the hen had laid 4 eggs, 1 of them off the perch, the other 3 in the nest site. However, after laying that full clutch, I didn't pick them up or do anything with them. She left the eggs, she abandoned them. She had no interest in sitting on them, and then a few days later began to rebuild a nest with some more cocoa fibre around them. So that was very frustrating. She clearly abandoned them. So I took the eggs out, put them in an egg drawer for safekeeping, and we'll look to foster them out if we can. Now, what's quite interesting then is after she did that, she started to rebuild the nest again, and today has laid the 2nd egg of a 2nd clutch. Now, the difference being this time is she's done it on consecutive days. She missed the 2nd day in the 1st clutch, but she's now been sat actually on the eggs, which is a little bit weird. I'm hoping she will continue to sit on them, and if she does, that's great, and hopefully it might bring us some baby bullfinches this year. We've had a very positive week with the European green finches. Now, previously saw a bit of disappointment with some clear eggs last week, but this pair have provided us a bit of good news. They originally built a nest, had no eggs. A week later, after building and finishing it, she's laid 5. Those 5 eggs are now definitely full. Now, I haven't actually fully candled these eggs by getting them out and holding them to the light. What you can do, and it does take a bit of time to experience this and learn how to do it, but if you shine a light on them from afar, you can almost tell if they're full or not, because a clear egg appears sort of a yellow colour from the yolk or a white colour, whereas a full egg appears quite dark, and these are all really, really dark. So I'm hoping that will translate into some greenfinch chicks for us to see in next week's episode. She's been sat about 8 days or so now, so all going well, we will have some for next week's episode. For the other 2 pairs then, this pair we had clear eggs from, which was really disappointing. They have rebuilt. She's laid a 4th egg today. She has begun sitting them, although she is eating at the moment. She's doing a great job of that so far, and the cockbird is in far greater condition than it was a few weeks ago in the 1st clutch. And the same goes for the pair in the aluminium flight cage. They have rebuilt. they don't like to do normal things, so she didn't build a proper nest last time. She built it on some fake vegetation in the corner. She's done the same. She's built a nest on a chapel style nest site in the corner rather than using the actual nest site. But the Cockbird, once again, is in great condition. He's showing signs of much more advanced fitness, and I'm hoping those eggs will be full. Anyway, everyone, that's all we've got time for in this week's episode. So if you enjoyed it today, please make sure to subscribe down below, smash a like on this video, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook for daily updates and behind the scenes footage of all of our birds. Now, thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.